Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the In Stride Podcast. This week, we talk about our favorite diabetes hacks that we have all learned, used, and may still be using today. If you're finding these podcasts interesting or useful, please drop us a like or a follow on any of our social media platforms and check out our website to learn more. Additionally, we have just created the InStride T1D subreddit to start building our community and sharing our collective experiences overcoming challenges with all things type 1 diabetes. You can find this subreddit under InStride_T1D on Reddit. Join us there in addition to our other social media channels. On to the episode.
Dude, Justin, let's start this thing, man, because I want to hear about your weekend, dude.
Yeah, this was a busy weekend. So for everyone that is, I guess, listening to this now, I was the last 4 days, or this past weekend, Labor Day weekend, was in St. Louis to race the Gateway Cup, the last round of the American Crit Cup. It's basically the last round of really big crit races in the U.S. So all the fastest guys, all the fastest teams were there, and I went there to race with the team I'd done the last couple rounds of crit racing with, which obviously is a little different than what I've been focusing on majorly with gravel this year. And it was fast and hectic and some real proper bike racing. It was good. It's good to be back.
Nice. So how many races were you in? Was it 4?
Yep, 4. Yeah, there was one Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. Raced all 4 of them. The race on Sunday was the big one that we were targeting. One of the guys on my team was going into that race. It's part of a multi-month long series with really big races across the U.S. And he was sitting second in an intermediate sprint point competition, 1 point behind the leader. And essentially, it came down to whoever beat whoever in the mid-race sprint would win the jersey for the year. And our whole goal for basically the whole weekend was to win that sprint. So I was on lead out and cover and breakaway duty for Friday and Saturday. It was mostly just prep and getting everything ready for Sunday. And then Sunday was hectic. Sunday was full gas. There were a lot of people that were trying to get up the road, maybe more for the finish and not necessarily for the mid-race sprint, but it didn't matter because the sprint only placed the top 3 riders across the line. So if those were up the road in a breakaway, even if no one in this competition was in it, the points would be gone and we wouldn't have won the jersey. So we had to make sure it was all together coming into that mid-race sprint. And my whole job for that day was to make sure it was together. So it was basically from the start until halfway, I was riding as hard as I could. Anytime someone would go up the road, and either sitting on the back of that bunch or dragging the whole peloton with me. And thankfully, he was able to seal the deal. A couple of the other guys on our team did full proper lead out for him, and it worked out better than we ever could have imagined. And got the jersey and got to stand on the podium with him at the end.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
That was awesome, man. I saw the photos. It was so cool to see. It's always fun, man. It's always fun to stand on a podium. Which out of the 200 guys that are in the field, or 150 in this one, I'm not sure how many, but dude, only one guy gets to stand on the podium, or a handful of guys get to stand on the podium. So it's a brutal sport. Cycling's such a brutal sport in that regard.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's always a thrill, and especially I could see a buddy standing on the podium. It's just so killer.
No, 100%. And it was a full team effort by everyone. I'm the only rider with type 1 diabetes on our team, and actually in the race as well. So it's cool to play a part in something everyone on the team committed 100% to the goal, and we delivered on. Everyone on the team did their job to a T. And it doesn't always work out, but when it does, it's really special.
Heck yeah! How was the diabetes management in all of this?
This was
anything to share? Anything fun to talk about?
I don't necessarily think anything super fun to talk about. Like, honestly, nothing good, nothing crazy. But for crits are just so different from all these long gravel races I'm doing, purely because there's this adrenaline dump right at the beginning. but then like by the time it's kind of like tapering off, like you're essentially at the end of the race. So it's managing that spike and that bump, like preemptively, with like trying to dose insulin to make sure I'm like potentially trending a little down at the beginning of the race so that I have the ability to eat during it. Was something I really tried to dial in and actually did a really good job of this weekend. Making sure my meal prior to the race was far enough ahead of time that I didn't have any residual like fat or insulin on board from that, and I could dose immediately, like in the 30 minutes before, so that I could have gel right at the beginning, have gel about halfway through, and be sipping on some carb mix throughout the race as well. Probably consumed 60 to 100 grams of carb, like pretty big range, over 70 minutes. But it worked out well, so that my blood sugar was steady the whole way around during the race, and I was able to like still be on the gas like the whole time, which is kind of what you got to do in a bike race, right?
When you talk about the adrenaline dump, so the adrenaline causing your blood sugars to go up because it's putting your body into that fight or flight response, putting that stored sugar into your bloodstream to be utilized for that, either that flight or that fight or both, I guess, in some senses. So how far out of the race do you start to see that start to happen? Do you start to see your CGM showing that you're on the rise? I'm just kind of curious how that works for you.
Definitely. So for me, at the very beginning of a race, so I kind of had two adrenaline dumps, and the second one might not necessarily be adrenaline, and maybe more just cortisol and any amount of residual food I had during the event. The first one happens within the first 15 minutes. Honestly, I would say like lap 2, lap 3, like instantly, like as soon as I start pedaling hard. That, and also like you do your warm up, but then you sit on the start line for 10-15 minutes like doing nothing. So if you're going from activity to doing nothing, like that's going to cause your blood sugar to go up, especially if you were eating during it and like not planning ahead of time. But for me, like it's 10 out of 10 times, even if I'm super fatigued, like going into the fourth day of racing, it'll happen on the fourth day of racing, like right at the beginning of the race. 100% of the time. There's no way that doesn't happen. So what I was doing was making sure, like, as I got to the start line, I would take a small dose of insulin to like make sure that even though it's like not necessarily a food response that is causing my blood sugar to go up, it is still causing my blood sugar to go up, and it's just something I didn't want to have to worry about. So that I would be able to consume food at the midway point, like when it was really important for the finish, and so that I could have food at the beginning of the race that would be really important for the midway, like when the bulk of my work was getting done, doing like covering moves and whatnot. The second dump, though, is within 15 to 20 minutes after the race. It starts going up and really kind of tops out like I'd say 45 minutes to an hour after the race ends. So I was making sure I got long cool downs every day, to really help try and minimize that. But it would definitely still trend up on this cool down ride. But then as soon as like I'm finished and like I'm showering, like I'd be in the shower and then I start getting alarms from my Dexcom without taking insulin, without doing anything, that my blood sugar was like either double arrows down or like in the red. And like it was time to eat for sure.
Yeah, no, that's such an interesting thing to call out. All the literature for a type 1 diabetic says, hey, post exercise, be careful. Your body, your blood sugars are going to drop. And, what you're explaining is like, hey, right after the race, I have this like cortisol in my body. I'm like super resistant to insulin, probably some of the food that I'm taking for the race itself. And you have a spike in blood sugars.
Yeah.
And like, I experience that same thing. And I think it's just, for the listeners to remember that have type 1 diabetes, it's like, look, if you're putting your body through an intense workout, there's a huge cortisol response, and the cortisol is going to create an insulin resistance. So, don't be shocked when your numbers do the opposite of what the literature says if you're going at an elite level, at a high level.
Yeah, I wouldn't even.
Definitely a good call out.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I would say I definitely wouldn't like exclude that only to elite level like efforts. That I would almost lump that into intensity and
Yeah.
like efforts that are over like VO2 max efforts, anaerobic stuff, like really short, intense sprints. Granted, 70-minute race, and it's that could be an endurance sport in like some contexts, but in the context of what that sport is, it's very intense and it's 70 minutes of sprints. It's not 70 minutes straight. And for me, if it was a 70-minute workout where I was just riding at like zone two tempo, like a steady state, it would not be the same response at all at the beginning or the end, for sure.
Yep, totally. No, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah, no, happy to. But yeah, so we get into the meat of what we were trying to talk about with our favorite and most maybe the diabetes hacks that we have kind of come to learn and come to use day to day that might not necessarily be talked about in literature at all.
Or FDA approved in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, this is not coming from doctors at all, so please don't take this as medical advice. But if you're living with diabetes, there's definitely hacks and things you do to get by that they work. Like, they work for me, and maybe they might not work for everyone, but something I've done. Yeah, so I guess I can start here since I kind of jumped into this.
Go for it. This is the fun part about like hanging out with other type 1 diabetics, and you get to learn about their tips and tricks and trials and errors.
Definitely. So I've got two that come to mind. One isn't necessarily quite as relevant anymore, but it was on the prior generation Dexcom on the G6s. Those were where you had the removable transmitter that you would put into the site that would go on your arm or wherever you were putting it. So it would last 10, 14 days, and then you'd have to change the site. But I noticed if the site was still sticking on, like for me, the adhesive was really good. And I could usually get like 15, 20 days out of them, like most of the time, as long as I wasn't doing anything too stupid. So like the sensor would end, but then I'd just restart a sensor with the same code, like I'd make sure I take a photo with my phone of what the sensor code was that I put in my arm. And I don't know why I would do this, and like maybe I didn't have to do this, but I would remove the transmitter from the sensor and then just put it right back.
No, you have to do that.
Okay, then
maybe. For like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was it. I forgot about that part. But yeah, I'd keep the same sensor on for longer, and that way I could also like just have more sensors. Like if I can average 20 days out of sensor, then I get an extra sensor every 60 days, right? I think. I don't know. I may have mathed that wrong, but after a certain amount of time, you'd end up with more like supplies from your prescription because you're using them over the prescribed amount of time. I like that one mostly purely because I could just get more sensors out of it.
That's a good trick. That almost makes me want to go back to the G6.
Yeah, it kind of does. But
that's a good trick.
I really like how small the G7 is.
I do too.
That one's nice. But second one as well. So in this one, more comes from me breaking shit in weird places at weird times and needing to, like, thankfully pump warranties are pretty good, so you can usually get a replacement pretty quickly. But if you have a broken pump and you need your pump before you can get your replacement, like for me with the tandem, I've had a couple times where the reservoir, like the little thing that moves the reservoir, would move the reservoir enough laterally that it wouldn't read the pump would not read the reservoir when you need to replace it. So what I was doing is when I would have to load a new reservoir, I would keep the old reservoir and I would hold it in place, so like as hard as I could with my hand, so that it would read a reservoir, and then take the old reservoir out, put the new reservoir in before it started to like prime it, and I could like keep using reservoirs that way. But I'd have to keep the one old one that would still work with it so that I could reset it. Otherwise, it just wouldn't read a reservoir, and it just wouldn't work. So I ended up doing that for 10 days, 15 days, because I was out and about and doing something, and I just couldn't get the replacement pump. And I'm sure Tandem and the FDA would be very unhappy with me doing that and not choosing my backup form of insulin, but it worked. So I'm calling that a hack.
Wait, I'm confused. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Expand on this one a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't doing a good enough job of listening. Because when I had a Tandem, right, I would oftentimes have like a reservoir that I would overfill, maybe accidentally, maybe on purpose, whatever. Right? I think I got to a point where I just filled it up pretty much to the max because I didn't care. And then every time I needed to just like change my site, I would change my site and just hook it up to the same reservoir. Right. And then when I need to change the reservoir, I would, flip it back.
Yeah.
So what was yours doing? I think I missed probably the key part of that.
Yeah. So this is about the pump itself breaking. Like I do that all the time. Like I change my pump site. Like I probably do like 4 or 5 pump sites on one reservoir. Like I change pump site really frequently, just purely to avoid infection and like from sweat, like those things get loose. But this is for the reservoir itself. What would happen is like I drop my pump a million times because I'm clumsy, and at a certain point, like I end up breaking the pump to a point where the little actuator that's under the reservoir would push the reservoir out. Like I think it was something with like that plastic track that keeps the reservoir in place. It would, like, the reservoir itself would move laterally from side to side so that it wouldn't stay in place enough for the pump to read the reservoir. I don't know why. I don't know. Like, I
kind of remember similar things happening to me.
And I would just hold like my hand over the pump and just hold it in place as tight as I could so that it would read. And that way I could like effectively load a new reservoir and keep using the pump that was broken.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe a very unsafe hack, but it worked.
I think another easy hack would be to get like a silicone case for your pump, but
yeah, that, or just keep it in my pocket and not like hold it in my hand.
Or chuck it against a wall. Yeah. Either way. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are definitely smarter and safer and things that should actually be done and not what I was doing. But, hey, I'm here.
In case of emergency, there you go. That works.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thanks. Well, congratulations. You took my one major good hack with the G6 stuff, but that's okay.
It's a good one.
It's common enough. Yeah. I think the thing that I am recognizing is that like what I need to do is when I switch to the G7, I built up so many backup G6 sensors. I think I have like an extra 6 boxes in my closet. So
can you send me a couple? Because the reason I'm asking is I have a couple Omnipods, what's it called? The closed loop system Omnipod. What do they call it? I can't remember. Whatever Omnipod's little closed loop system, but it only works with the G6, and I don't have any of those. So that would be cool if I could buy some from you or something.
That's crazy that it only works with the G6.
I don't know. There were samples. I have like 10 of them left. I don't want to waste them.
Fair. Well, I know the sample.
Anyway, sorry, Alex. I totally interrupted you, but my ears perked up. I'm like, I need to get some G6s so I can run that closed loop system for whatever, a month or so.
10 days, almost. Yeah. I mean, I found that like for me, right, switching the restarting the G6 works okay, but only like somewhere between an extra like 2 to 7 days. So I definitely have to be more diligent, when that's happening. So I get like a lot more connection issues and things like that. So maybe the guitar picks, like that's what that's what I'll do to enhance your thing. The way to get this transmitter out of the G6 is to take a guitar pick and push it in on the sides so that it pops it out without breaking the sensor.
Oh, that's smart. Oh man, I can't even remember what I was doing. I may have been using like a safety pin or something, like the
yeah, I'm sure that works. Yeah. Nice. So the other one that I've gotten into recently is I always had this, for whatever reason, I have like the insulin pens instead of vials. I think that, it's just nice. I can carry a couple of small pen needles with me. And then in case the pump breaks, I have pen needles instead of having to take a pack of syringes and, having the needles that just constantly bend and, all that crap. Right. But it's always like bothered me a little bit that you can clearly see insulin still in the pen when the little, I don't know what you call it, the little thing that you twist to dose your insulin units, it is always insulin left. So as I'm pulling it out from my Omnipods, I've just like started, instead of pushing it in, I've started pulling that last little bit. I'm getting like 20-ish units of insulin extra out of those things now, which on a bag of 5, that's an extra 100 units.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pull a lot. I was doing that same thing with Omnipods, Alex. I was getting anywhere from 10 to 15 units every time.
No, I'm talking from the pen, not from the. That's another one though, is pulling it back.
Oh, yeah. From the tip of the pen. Yeah, no, same thing. Yeah. If you put a syringe in there and pull it out, you get another 10 or 15.
Yep. So that so your prescription is for n number of units per day, and so let's say you get like a couple boxes of pens per month. Now you've just like increased your buffer by 15%. I mean, I know for me recently, for whatever reason, 150 units has been way more than enough for a 3-day set for like a year. But for whatever reason, in the last like month or so, I've been going through like 180 units every 3 days. It's so those extra 10 units per pen are kind of nice. But Nathan, that's a good point though. On the Omnipod, I do the same thing, right? Like if there's the Omnipods expire. So like you can't just like reuse the same transmitter until the insulin runs out. So when you don't quite correctly dose it, you just maybe have 50 units left in there. Yeah. So I'll take the what's it called? Not the reservoir, but the syringe that you use to fill the pods anyway. Just pull it right. The key that I found though is you have to turn the pump so that the hole that you would inject the insulin into is down to the bottom, like as low as possible, just to get that down. But yeah,
that sounds right. I haven't done that for a while. I haven't been on a pump for some time now. But there's, even when it says it's empty, there's still insulin in there to be pulled back out. If you're running low on insulin, it's a good trick. Definitely.
Even if you're not running low on insulin.
Well, definitely been on the road before when I'm running low on insulin, and it's like squeezing every last 10 units. Get out.
Being there, done that.
A good place.
Still,
I think I was like, actually, you know what I was doing, Alex, is I was like I'd like take my Omnipods off and I'd like throw them in the fridge. Right, they've been out of the fridge for 3 days on my arm, but then I would pull them. I'd have like 3 or 4 in the fridge, and I'd pull them, and I'd get like 30 units out to refill a new pod. So you can definitely like kind of be creative with conserving medicine.
Yeah, and then
it's a good trick.
That's kind of another thing with the pens that I like is they're theoretically like heat resistant, right? So I honestly don't even keep my insulin in the fridge at this point. Like I just keep the pens in the closet. Like it's a dark, cool closet, so it's not like I'm just like setting them out on the front porch, baking in the sun all day. But I think that I found that it protects the insulin pretty. Like a while back, I found a pen. I was running low on insulin, and I found a random pen that had expired, quite a while prior that I just somehow lost track of. It's like, well, running low. Guess we'll see what happens if I use this insulin, and it worked exactly the same as all the other insulin. I think that those like the casings on the pens really help protect that, like the actual insulin.
What are you guys doing to keep your insulin cool? Justin, I'm really talking to you living in Austin. I'm new to the heat here. I've got some things that I use. I use those Frio packs where you soak them in water. Those seem to work okay. What do you guys use to keep your insulin cool when you're out and about?
I don't tip anything. For the amount I travel, I just have not done anything. I do prefer using pens. I do think I agree with Alex 100%. I think the pens do a much better job at keeping the insulin active, and there have definitely been times where I also use a pump. primarily, especially when I'm out and about. So I just assume that it's all right because it's on my body and it's in my pocket when I'm out on a ride and it's 100 degrees. I do try and avoid riding when it's 100 degrees just because that's insane. But it's like it's on me all the time, so I assume it just being at whatever the ambient temperature is whenever I'm out and about is okay. And if it's okay when it's doing that, then like it's probably going to be okay if it's in my backpack and I have to travel with it and it's warm. So I don't like keep it refrigerated when I am out and about. But that being said, when I go and pick up insulin at the pharmacy, when I come back, like it's currently in my fridge right now, and I do just store it in my fridge. The spare insulin, like the extra insulin I bring with me whenever I have to go somewhere, I try and keep as like shaded as possible and keep it as cool as it can be, but I don't do anything apart from that to like keep it refrigerated.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I just use the pens and let them protect the insulin. I mean, like I said earlier, it's currently sitting in a cabinet upstairs or a closet upstairs. I mean, it's dark and stuff in there, and I leave it in the boxes, but I've used it for a long time post putting it in there, and it's been just fine. I mean, I'd be interested to know if there's a big difference between those pens and like a general vial. But
I'm curious if it like when it expires or when it denatures, if it's how it becomes inactive, or if it's more of like a performance thing where it's like 80% effective or 70%, like a percentage of effectiveness, or if it just like is an on or an off switch. And that is something I just do not know about.
I know most drugs, it's like if you take expired ibuprofen, you just get like, if you take a 200 milligram pill of ibuprofen, I don't know what the number is, but it basically is like, oh, well, this is only like 100 milligrams this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've used insulin that has been well over a year expired and seen absolutely no difference.
Yeah.
So
same.
That doesn't mean that it's not less effective. I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into play there, but that's pretty much, maybe it starts to become crappier. But I feel like when I've had insulin go bad, it's been, like from a vial in an insulin pump, in a really hot day, just like, yep, something went wrong here.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just done. So, which then sucks because you're like, well, there goes that. But
yep. And then you're trying to figure out the variables of like, oh, was that the pump site? Was that the insulin? And then you do like 2 or 3 more sites. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, maybe I was just overthinking it. Maybe I just need to have my insulin pen and let it cruise. Keep it in my back pocket on my rides and not worry about the heat. I'm always a little nervous, especially in Texas. Like in California, it was no big deal, right? It was always 72 and perfect. And so now it's like I'm taking little Yeti coolers with me, with my pens in them. Maybe that's overkill. So maybe I shouldn't stress as much.
Hey, I think more is better. And I think if you have the option to do that, I would think that's the safer and more the wiser approach to it. But sometimes you just can't. I don't think it's the end of the world.
Totally. Well, yeah, to not stress about little things like that is a good tip for sure.
Definitely.
I mean, it almost leads into another diabetes hack. Don't boil your insulin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let it cook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, boil it, put it in the oven. I wouldn't. That's the hack, is like not doing that. Obviously, that's not a real hack, but
yeah, that's just common sense. Common sense. Not leave your insulin in your pocket in Texas.
Yeah.
Sweet. Any other?
All right. So tips and tricks
to mind.
Hacks.
Yeah.
Man, my only hack, and this should be totally obvious, but I don't know if it is for everyone. It's the cost of insulin is always an issue. And there's the thing that, I've discovered, I haven't had real insurance for a couple of years. And so insulin can, on the sticker price, seem really expensive. But I think there's requirements for insulin companies to offer coupons. I believe there's like a $35 monthly cap now. And so if you go to the brand that you're using, for me, it's like Humalog, if you go onto that brand, there's going to be coupons. And so you print those off, take them into your pharmacy, or put them into your Amazon pharmacy account, and they're there for the life of your prescription. And the reason I bring that up is because I was at the pharmacy. This was a couple of years ago, and the pharmacist rings up my Humalog Quick Pen, purchase, and it's like something like $450, right, for 4 pens. And I'm like, oh, hold on a second, I got a coupon. And so I took it out of my pocket, handed it over to her, and she types it in, and brings it down to 30, and she's $35. And she's like, oh, that was a good one. And my response to her was like, is this the first one of these you've actually seen? I would think everybody who comes here and buys insulin would have given you one of these coupons. Like, are people really paying $400 for this insulin? And so I bring that up. It maybe less of a hack. People might know it, but I think not everybody does. And so, if you're paying a lot for insulin still, like, do a little research, find some coupons. And this goes for CGMs as well. I mean, I'm always able to find coupons for, Dexcom, G7s, and it's still expensive, but it's more affordable than it would otherwise be. So, my biggest hack for type 1 diabetes is be on the hunt for those coupons, especially for the medicine itself, because if you're seeing $400 sticker prices at the checkout, you're missing something. There's a coupon out there to keep that cost down, and that's for the pins. That's for the it's not just for the crappy vials. It's for the quick pins.
I think you made a good point there, related to the current climate of everything. If that coupon lasts until like the end of your prescription, you can kind of keep renewing that prescription. And people should definitely get on that now, because I'm pretty sure there was, some executive order that rescinded that $35 cap on insulin. I've kind of lost track of like what all is happening in all of the things that keep coming, but I know that was one of the things on the chopping block. So, if people get those coupons in now, then they might actually last before before that option goes away.
Yeah, and what I say about life of the prescription, I think what I mean by that is, like, so I have like 5 refills or whatever, right? I don't have to insert a new coupon code for any of those refills, and so I think that's what I'm saying. The life of that prescription until those refills run out. So
yeah,
you only have to put that. Yeah, you only have to put that coupon in one time, which is super handy. But yeah, hunt for those, and hopefully Alex is wrong, and that $35 cap doesn't go away, because that's bullshit. I mean, here's the thing, right? It's like, I'm all about, medicines costing a certain amount of money for R&D. And, that'd be awesome if our insulins got better. But man, I've been using the same damn insulin for, how long's Humalog been out? Alex, it's been out for like
a long time.
Before 2001, because I remember I was on Humalog and NPH when I got diagnosed.
Yeah, so I'm using the same insulin that I've been using for 25 years. It's like, man, the cost of it keeps going up, the sticker price keeps going up, but the insulin doesn't get any better. I remember I was at an ADA conference, and I was at one of the sessions, and one of the docs was talking about a new insulin that was being tested. It was called smart insulin, and it was being tested in mice, and it was one of those things where you inject it, and then it starts to become active when there's actually sugar in the blood. So the insulin's on board, dormant, until it needs to act. And I'm like, man, that was like 10 years ago. Where's that smart insulin at? Whatever happened to that stuff? Where's my smart insulin, people? I know you're working on it.
That sounds so nice. Oh.
Yeah, like, that's better than pumps. That's better than, I mean, I think it would just maybe be too good, right? Maybe I'm being cynical here now. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I'm starting up a conspiracy. It's like, oh, the smart insulin was too good. We can't release that to the public. That'll crash the pump companies. That'll crash the CGM company.
Yeah, big diabetes.
That'll bury the industry.
No.
Don't make the insulin too good.
Oh man, yeah, we can dream. We can hope and dream on that one.
Yeah, but anyways, 10 years ago they were talking about this smart insulin, and that's what I was hoping that the expensive insulin prices were going to. But here I am, Humalog, still rocking it. 20 years on.
Yeah,
it's good. It works.
Gets the job done.
But,
that's what we need.
But I heard about that. I heard about that smart insulin, man. I want some of that.
Oh man, yeah. It can't. There's things that are getting worked on that obviously aren't out yet, right? That I don't know about, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know about, and maybe even the people that are working on it don't really know what it's actually going to be. But I'm eager to see what this smart insulin or what the next version is going to be, or whatever replaces what we're currently using.
What was that? What was that one insulin came out that was like I think you ingested it, like a nasal ingestion one. I think it was like not Similan.
That's a Afrezza.
Oh yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. I remember trying it a while back, and that stuff was quick. Like that was kind of cool. It's obviously not a smart insulin, but that onset, I remember trying it. Like it just messed me up completely because I expected, the standard curve. Took it, 10 minutes before eating a meal. I mean, this is a long time ago, and then immediately tanked my blood sugars, right? But that kind of stuff would be cool, especially given how much I love eating cereal. Anyway, Nathan, you got another hack?
No, not well, sort of. The little batteries inside the Omnipods. I remember like cracking those things open and taking those little watch batteries out because I needed them for a different, like maybe one of my kids' toys or something. Like those little tiny watch batteries that they put in those Omnipods. They put way more battery life in those things than they need for 3 days. So if you need a tiny little watch battery, you can take a hammer and a pliers and crack those things open. I've definitely like stolen some batteries out of there when I just didn't want to go to the hardware store. I cannot remember the specific example, but I felt so proud of myself that I like found some little watch batteries for my kids' toys by breaking open an Omnipod.
Now, if only they would use those 2032 batteries in there, because I feel like I need those for everything, and they're expensive. And if I just could take every expired Omnipod and take those out, I would save like $1,000 a year. I feel like.
No, they're the smaller ones. They're the ones that go in like the little Paw Patrol toys.
Yep.
The little tiny things that like you hit the button and they like.
Oh yeah.
And that's the battery that the Omnipod pumps you.
I remember this because this is related. This is maybe another pseudo hack. Maybe just save your sanity hack for Omnipod users. That if one of those things goes bad and does that like obnoxious beep saying like, "Hey, you got to change this thing now," and for whatever reason you cannot stop it. Yeah, breaking it apart is the answer. I've done it before with like rocks or screwdrivers. I think one time I threw it down an elevator shaft. Like, you're just in this state where it's like, but yeah, a sledgehammer is less effective than you may think on those things. They are freaking robust.
Wow.
They're really hard to break open. I find that if you like where the cannulas come out, if you take a pliers, that's like the weak part to crack open. So like put a pliers on there and just, like crack it.
The old Gen 1s had like this rubber seal between two components, so you could just jam a screwdriver in there and pry it open. But maybe I haven't had to do it with the dashes. So
the Omnipods have a little hole in the bottom that you stick a little pin in, and that shuts off the buzz. I don't know if you knew that.
Huh. Well, hey, that might be the best hack that I've learned tonight.
Not everybody knows that. I had teammates because we were early days, Alex. We were like sponsored by those guys, and the product was awesome. But when those things would blow up on you because there was an occlusion or something, you could put them in the freezer too. I think the freezer would kill the sound. I know
eventually
people who would throw them in the freezer.
Until you forget you do that, and then you open the freezer an hour later looking for some pizza rolls or something. It's like,
No, I think the cold. I think the cold killed the alarm. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, I thought it took time, but maybe not.
No, yeah. I think it took a little bit of time. It didn't do it right away, but I think eventually it would quiet.
Yeah, they definitely don't want you to not know when they think you have an issue with your pod.
Yes.
Luckily, the new ones, I've found that the dashes are, knock on wood, right? But have so many less occlusions. I had to stop using Omnipod for years because I couldn't put it anywhere. And like every day and a half, it would be like, here's an occlusion, here's another occlusion. I'm just like,
dang,
what the hell is going on here? But
I had the same experience, Alex. I was having a ton of occlusions and just got fed up with it. Recently I used the dash system and didn't have any issues. So they must have gotten that figured out.
I think I've had like one or two in the 3.5 years I've used it, which that seems statistically correct, right? Like, I mean, I had a lot even on the tandem. On a tandem, I guess maybe there's another one. How to get rid of occlusions is like take the pump, take the set out, and give yourself like a 3 or 4 unit bolus and see if it's like going through or just try to like force the occlusion out.
Yep. No, I've definitely done that. And like you unplug, you unhook the pump side from the pump cord from the pump side, and you like start a 3 or 4 unit bolus, and you let it give a little, and then you put it back in. So it's like, in my mind, I think there's just like some inertia going. So maybe it gets it going a little bit quicker and just forces whatever's in there. But maybe it's just worked its way out.
I don't know if that quite matches like the physics of the situation, but if it works,
Yeah,
maybe if I just believe in it, so it works. And sometimes
when you guys are, especially you, Justin, because you're both skinny. When you guys are getting occlusions with your pumps, are you seeing like your cannulas kink when you pull them off?
I'd say
is that something that you're dealing with?
50-50. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And I'd say, and I don't know if it's because I'm skinny, because I'm putting my pump sites on my butt almost exclusively. So it's like the fattiest part of my body. I'd say it's mostly from me like bending in a certain way, or like when I'm like stretching or I'm doing core and I just like happen to like lay on my pump site, and then like later that day there's an occlusion and it's something I can't fix, so then I have to change the pump site and I pull it out and it's like, oh yeah, that's an angle that should not be there.
I feel like I can never even tell because I rip it off so fast that I feel like I just like mess up the cannula. Like I still have like, just enough like, so I put it on my hips and then on the top of my legs. Actually, I think having 4 sites was absolutely, I think that's really helpful for me.
Yeah.
With avoiding those inclusions. I think I have 3 at any given time because I have my CGM on one spot. But yeah, like to get it off, I just like rip the thing off because I've got a hair on my upper leg, right? And it just like rips it straight off. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really care what the cannula looks like. I pull this thing out enough to deal with the pain of ripping body hair off.
Fair enough. Alrighty.
Oh, cool.
That might be it on the hacks for today. Should we do blood sugars?
I don't think I have any more. Oh yeah, blood sugars.
I'm definitely not winning today. My blood sugar is low right now. What are we at? I am at 54 straight arrow cross. I should have been snacking.
Man, you see to hold it together though while you're low, because when I'm 54 and I'm bumbling like an idiot, I don't think we're ever gonna see that.
Ooh, no. I got it. 182. I've been there for a while, so I don't think that's winning any presents today. Any prizes.
You might be surprised. I got 212 with an arrow down.
Dang.
None of us are killing it tonight. But what do you think?
We're 2 for 2 on not good days all around.
You know what? I'm going to take my 182. I'm feeling healthy.
And before that too, you've got like a pretty solid trend line. So that's.
I was 182 all day long, so I don't know what I'm doing. I probably shouldn't be hanging out that high.
Yeah.
Oh nope, my arrow just switched to be flat now. So.
Dang.
All right. I'm taking it. I'm taking the win. Taking the W.
You got it. Alrighty. Well,
all right, guys.
until
Have a
the
good
next
night.
one. Same to y'all. See you.
Later.
Peace.